Welcome to another episode of Two Old Geeks Talking. Now on the World Wide Web.
Hey, welcome back to Two Old Geeks Talk, and I'm Rob.
I'm Trace.
And today we're talking about Constantine.
Constantine.
Right?
Well, you could take what I know about Constantine and we wouldn't fill a shot glass.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
I did a little bit of research. I knew he was a DC character. I knew he did magic, and I watched the Keanu Reeves movie, which we'll talk about that when you're ready to talk about it.
Okay.
But for the most part, no, I didn't know a whole lot about the character, and so I've done, like I said, a tad bit of research. But
okay,
tell me about John Constantine.
Okay, so John Constantine, like you said, he's a DC character. He was. You remember we had recently done an episode on anti-heroes? Well, he is like DC's poster boy for anti-heroes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Got his first appearance in Swamp Thing 37 back in 1985.
Yeah.
Actually,
Swamp Thing's like a lot of people are passionate about Swamp Thing, especially Alan Moore. I think he wrote a lot of them, and I never have read any of those because I'm not a DC guy. Plus, a guy that looks like a piece of broccoli never did appeal to me. And but he actually appeared in that comic.
Well, so it's crazy. He was supposed to be a supporting character.
Yeah.
And the character was written by Alan Moore.
Oh yeah.
And the two artists, Steve Bissett and John, what did we say his name was?
Totibian.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. They wanted to draw a character that resembled Sting, the singer.
Oh yeah. I'm a big Sting fan.
And so this is what they told Alan, and Alan ran with it. That's all they told him.
Yeah.
Well, what?
So he's like, is he DC's Doctor Strange?
No, Dr. Fate would be Doctor Strange in DC's universe.
So he's something totally different.
He's something totally different. He's a magic user, but what really made him stand out in that first issue is he came looking for a particular power, some kind of magical power, and he finds Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing's basically first coming up to being what he is, and he explains to him. He says, you are the last plant elemental. You have, and Constantine's explaining this to him.
Yeah.
You have the ability to reach out to all the green, all of the earth, and transport your soul anywhere on the planet as long as there's green there.
Yeah.
And this was just blowing Swamp Thing's mind. And he's like, you're teaching me about the green. And he's like, I need to know more. And Constantine's like, no. First, you've got to do something for me. And so he gets him to do a couple favors. And every time he gets him to do a favor, he wants him to teach him more about the green, and John just keeps screwing him over.
Yeah.
So
but that was his first appearance, but they really didn't have John's origin there.
No, not at that time. No, they were just basically.
He was just a non-player character.
He was a non-player character, right? Which is funny because later on in the comics, as John Constantine becomes more of a base character, Swamp Thing kind of gets his revenge on him. Swamp Thing has a wife.
Yeah.
And they're wanting a child.
This just proves there's somebody for
everyone.
There's
somebody for everybody.
I've always been attracted
She's the one
broccoli.
that watered him and helped him grow and everything. And watched over
asparagus really turns me on.
Right? So anyway, Swamp Thing uses his spores to take over Constantine's body.
Yeah.
So that she can get pregnated. So she basically uses Constantine to sire a child.
Interesting.
And on top of that, for some odd reason, Swamp Thing had a tree tattooed on Constantine's ass.
Oh, yeah? Okay, all right. While he was in control of it.
Yeah, while he was in control of him.
Well,
yeah,
just like worse. Could have been on his forehead.
Yeah, I've been there. But anyway, so that's how he got his start. Constantine is considered like one of the most powerful characters in DC comic. I mean, I know you're thinking Superman's more powerful and things like that.
So he's like a British cigarette smoking, trench coat wearing,
right?
Master of the occult.
He hails from Liverpool.
Do you know what cigarettes he smokes?
Oh, I did. I did at one time. Do you know?
Yeah, Silk Cut.
That's right,
Yeah,
Silk Cut.
it's a British cigarette. You
Right,
can't
and
get
when
them
he's
in,
over in America, he smokes
yeah, you
Marlboro.
can't get them in here in America.
Oh well,
Yeah,
I
yeah, you
wish.
can't even get them shipped over. If I ever go over there, I'll bring you some just because you're a Constantine fan.
Okay, well, I would have faked a package or something and had
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
If I thought that far, but I
yeah.
didn't think that far yet. But anyway, so yeah, his origins when they decided to start making his origins, it's kind of convoluted because throughout the years, as the years have passed, they've kind of altered it and changed it, which is,
They do that to all the
especially when the
heroes.
New 52 hit and thing.
Yeah.
So it
Did
started
it
out,
aggravate you when they started tweaking his origin, or did you like it better?
at first, yes. But then, or at first, no, it pissed me off. But then, later in one of the other comics, he had three origins at one time.
Oh, really?
And one of the comic books, they were talking. This group of demons was trying to figure out who he was, and they were talking to this magical power, and they were like, "Are you talking about the Constantine who choked his brother to death in his mother's womb? Are you talking about the Constantine whose spell casting as a child went wrong and he burned his family to death? Are you talking about?" And
Acting like there was different universes.
right,
and different
exactly. So
Constantines.
basically, that's how they writ that off. So
Yeah, yeah.
basically, Constantine's mother had had a previous abortion, which weakened her uterus. He ended up strangling his brother to death with the umbilical cord.
But did he know what he was doing?
No, I don't think so.
I would
His
say
brother went on to haunt him throughout the
babies are
years.
pretty innocent.
Yeah, he had an imaginary friend
Yeah.
that he kept seeing called the Golden Child, which was better at magic than he was, smarter than he was, and he kind of disliked this character. Come to find out, it was actually his brother from an alternate universe that was kind of haunting him
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's complicated.
complicated. Everything about Constantine is complicated. I
Yeah.
mean, anybody who knows Constantine or spends time with Constantine is in danger of losing their life.
Yeah.
So, some of his power, he's known as an exorcist.
Yeah.
I guess in a way, I consider him a paranormal investigator, and his investigating abilities or his detective abilities kind of almost outshines Batman's in a way, which is hard.
Yeah, I
to
always
believe.
heard when stuff goes weird, Batman calls Constantine.
Yeah, because he pretty much knows all, sees all. In a way, he has this ability called synchronectivity or something like that, to where he can be in the right place at the right time. Let me read you off. I got a list here. So he's in level 1 intelligence, knows everything there is about an occult. Of course, he's a magic user, telekinesis, necromancy, pyro something.
So did he get his powers just from studying?
Yes and no. He
Or he
got
wasn't bitten by a radioactive?
so it come out later on to
demon?
find out that his family is a long line of magic users,
Yeah.
and that it kind of flows in the blood.
Yeah, so it's
And
DNA
later
type
on
thing.
in the comic books, there is a demon he gets blood infused with, which kind of added to his powers as
So
well.
he leveled up.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. Okay, so we play D&D.
Yes, we did.
If you want to be a character and you want to
Yeah.
be a magic user,
Yeah.
this is the son of a gun you want to be. Now
Yeah.
he don't have a sweet disposition,
Yeah.
foul mouth, chain smoker, con man, really kind of a lot of self-centered,
Yeah.
but he has a good heart. Now, what people don't know, so before I jump ahead of myself, he had practiced magic under, let's see, I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. Nick Necro and Giovanni Zitana, which is Zantana's father.
Yeah, didn't he have like a relationship with Zantana?
So yes, he was courting her, and the
She got the black hat and the fishnet stockings.
right.
I saw a girl at Comic-Con dressed as her,
Yeah,
and she was walking in front of me, and I could see why he would want to court her. She looked like she had a fantastic personality.
Can you guess why the relationship went bad?
Both in the same business, magic.
No, he killed her father.
He killed her father. Yeah.
Yeah, a spell he was casting went wrong, and it killed her father.
Yeah, and she took that personally.
Yeah, kind of. And but in kind of like a revenge, she cast a spell on him to be a better person.
Yeah.
So all the good things he done from that point on, everybody's like, oh, he's an exorcist with a good heart and fights them. Does he have a good heart, or is he just doing this because of the spell that she casted on him?
Yeah.
It's
so to get revenge on the guy that killed her father, she cast a spell to make him a better guy.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
But I mean, it's like trying to polish a turd in a way. Now you're going to be a pretty turd. So Constantine actually goes by a few names. He's also known as Hellblazer.
Yeah. I always wondered why he was in a comic called Hellblazer instead of a comic called Constantine.
Well, he's basically called Constantine. And over in England, he's not known as Constantine, he's Constantine.
Yeah.
The proper pronunciation is Constantine.
I wonder if they like him over there, or, because he's primarily written by American writers.
Right.
So I wonder if they look at that character and see him as maybe a stereotypical.
I don't know.
Britain.
I really wish I had my thumb on the pulse of other countries' comics, because just like their food and everything else, it varies in taste.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure the popularity of some characters are greater and weaker than they are over here.
Yeah, well, when was his debut? Was it in the 70s or 80s?
No, 83.
83?
Or 85. 85.
85?
Some people say earlier because there was a picture of a guy that kind of looked like him in Swamp Thing, but they said it wasn't him.
Well, the thing is, because when you go back to the 70s and even in the 80s, a lot of your characters from overseas that were written by American writers are very stereotypical, and so I didn't know if I just wondered.
Yeah, that's why they based him after Sting. At the time, he was popular, and it was kind of he was the '80s pop star.
Yeah.
So you're right. He kind of acted like that at the time, but anyway, so he ended up eventually getting his own line of comics after Swamp Thing back in '88. It wasn't until '88.
Was it popular?
So it's been the longest running series for DC's Vertigo.
Yeah.
He was ranked the third top, best known or greatest comic book character in the top 50 of all characters of all time.
Yeah.
Not just DC.
Wow.
All comic books.
Yeah.
Which is that's why I asked you when you said, you'd never heard of him. No, I'm not a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
But I could pretty much.
Yeah.
If you showed me a Marvel character, I could tell you who it was.
I heard of him, but that's it. Just the name.
Right.
And so when I watched the Keanu Reeves movie, I thought that was the character.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the movie.
Okay. Well, I watched that and I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was a great.
It was a good movie.
I really
it really
enjoyed
was a
it,
good
and
movie.
the acting was fantastic, and the story was great, and the special effects still hold up. And I thought it was a very interesting character. And so, but he didn't smoke, and he didn't wear the trench coat, and he didn't have the British accent.
Nope.
And they're actually making a sequel to it. After years later, they're going to make one, and Keanu Reeves is going to be in it. And I'm assuming they're probably not going to have him wear a trench coat and smoke cigarettes.
I'm sure he's probably going
to be British,
just like the Constantine he was before.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah. But I wonder why they did. That's a small tweak. You could have Keanu do a British accent, even if he did it poorly. He could still do it. You could have him wear a trench coat easily. And have him smoke cigarettes easily.
Well, I don't know what.
I think he might have smoked cigarettes
what was
in the movie.
Keanu's? He had a lighter, because that's one of the main movie props from that movie is the lighter.
Yeah.
I don't have one, but
I think he did smoke in the movie. He just didn't have the trench coat.
Yeah. Well, the DC comic book Constantine, he's like a 2-pack a day kind of character. So in 2005 is when the Keanu Reeves Constantine came out. And I don't know what Keanu's popularity was back then, but I'm pretty sure that's probably.
Yeah, it wasn't at his height.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. He'd done Speed, and he'd done a few other movies, but Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but and The Matrix. It was after The Matrix.
Okay, so his popularity was up
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, he had kind of gone up and come back down.
Okay, so that's why they went with him instead of some other British guy.
Yeah, yeah. He was a name.
Was a name.
He was a name.
He
yeah,
was exactly
yeah,
a name.
Yeah.
So, what would you rate that movie?
I'd rate that movie on a scale from 1 to 10 an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I you know what? I won't disagree. I think it was a damn good movie. Is it comic book accurate? No.
What about the live action series with Constantine?
It is more. Now that came out in 2014. The main actor is Matt Ryan. That series got canceled after a season, and it is more closer or accurate to the comic book line than the movie.
And what I saw online is that not only did Matt Ryan do Constantine live action, but he does like all the voice.
I think he did them all except for one.
All the voice acting for like the animated.
Yeah, there was
versions.
one cartoon he didn't do the voice for.
Did you watch those as well?
Yeah, I own like 2 or 3 of them.
Did you like them?
Oh yeah, yeah. So, I mean, so you kind of got to be in that kind of mindset to where you like the occult and that kind of dark stuff. Like that's why they came out with Justice League Dark, which he's a part of. He's a big part of. And you've kind of like that, Frankenstein running around swinging big axes and swords.
Yeah,
I
never was drawn toward the magic user side of any comic book company, whether that was
Which I don't understand. It's fantasy. Everything in comic books fantasy. Why not that?
Well, I mean, to me, like when I'd read Doctor Strange, and I have just a few Silver Age Doctor Strange. It's like, you heard that old saying, I've got an app for that. I've got an app for that. Well, Doctor Strange always had a spell for that. So it's like, he's in a real bad problem. Don't worry about it. I've got a spell for that. And so it was kind of like, you could tell the writers were just making it up as they went along. And so they'd get him in a bad position, and then he would have some kind of spell to get out of it. And so as a reader, for me personally, I just never could get into Doctor Strange, and I'm sure if I was into DC for Constantine, it might be the same.
You say that, but I mean, let's say you like Thundercats. That stupid sword of his would always have a new power every week to get him out of a new thing.
Right. That's bad writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know anything about Constantine. I don't know that they did that. To me, good writing, you have foreshadowing, and you set things up, and and there's good writing. But for me, like the old Silver Age Doctor Strange, and it wasn't interesting. Yeah.
Well, the one way the movie differs is, they had him committing suicide. That's one thing that didn't happen in the comic book. Anyway, there's been another actor that has portrayed Constantine.
Oh, yeah.
So in 2022, in that small series called Sandman.
Yeah.
So there was an actress that was Jenna Coleman who played.
So they gender swapped.
Okay, wait a second. So Jenna Coleman played Constantine. You would probably know her best as Clara from Doctor Who. So yes. And the director said, no, this isn't because of diversity reasons, but we freaking know that's what it was for.
I get so tired of that DEI.
But I've watched parts of it.
Yeah.
She really did a freaking good job. She acted like Constantine. She's, of course, she's British.
Other than she didn't have a penis.
Right.
Yeah.
And
maybe they should have a male Wonder Woman.
And
I'm sure we will if I live long enough.
And they stuck to the character being bi. I don't know if you knew that about Constantine.
Yes. I can't get behind there's a lot of heroes I like. Punisher, Daredevil, Thor, and Conan, and none of them suck penis.
What?
And so, let's say Constantine was the best written character in the world. He sucks penis. I can't get behind that.
Oh, now look. He has been supporting and been a part of the bi community for 34 or 30
Yes,
more
yeah.
years.
Yes, that's exactly
Probably
right.
one of the oldest
Probably one of the
known.
first ones, yes. Because right now,
outside of I think Shatterstar. I
right
think
now, a lot of
Shatterstar is a
modern
little older.
writers like to turn every character
But this
gay.
ain't modern. We're talking about
I
30
know,
years in the
no,
past.
he's been queer since way back when. Yeah, yeah,
We don't call him.
yeah, yeah.
It's not queer. It's bi.
Well, I call everything queer is like an old word for odd, and so I just call them all queers.
Okay. Well, he's my favorite bi character.
Your favorite?
He's my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot,
Okay,
but he's my
okay.
favorite.
All right.
So anyway, they made her that way as well, which was cool to see.
Yeah.
Constantine throughout the years has been in one title or another, and they've always changed up the title, but it's always pretty much been the same. So from 1988 to 2018, he was in Hellblazer.
Yeah.
From 2013 to 2015, he was in Constantine. From 15 to 16, he was in Constantine the Hellblazer. From 16 to 18, the Hellblazer. And from 2020 to 2021, it was John Constantine the Hellblazer.
So is Hellblazer like a nickname?
No, Hellblazer's like, yeah, it's kind of like his title or kind of like who he is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Tracy, your middle name and your last name.
Yeah. So Hellblazer is like a nickname.
Yeah. And this year, 2024, is supposed to be a new series coming out called Dead in America. It's supposed to be called Hellblazer Dead in America. So look for that. So actually, he's always got a comic and been running for years.
Yeah.
So we've already talked about his magic history. Excuse me.
Yeah. Do you have any of his action figures?
No, okay. For him to be such a beloved character, or at least I think he's a beloved character, they've only made, I think NECA made a character of him.
Todd McFarlane made one.
Yeah, and I think there's only been like 3
Yeah,
altogether.
112 made one. And it come with like a sword. It was called like the Sword of Bright or Sword of Spoon or
there's
something.
one that comes with like several different accessories.
Does any of them have penis sucking action?
Shit far, son. No.
Kung Fu grip? None of that? Okay, all right.
No.
All right.
Okay, so some pinnacle moments in his career or in
Yeah.
his life outside of choking his brother to death at birth.
Yeah.
He was with a group called the Newcastle Crew years ago, and they was an attempt to try to save a young girl. She was about 9 years old. Her name was Astral. I got her name written down here somewhere. Lagu.
Yeah.
And they were trying to save her from a demon named Nurgle, which is one of his main antagonists. And the spell went wrong, and it actually pushed her into his arms.
Oh, really?
And it drove him freaking crazy enough to where he literally locked himself in a mental institution.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he was real tormented in that Keanu Reeves movie.
Well,
to the point
I mean,
of suicide.
He's lost groups of friends. Anybody that gets close to him pretty much dies. I mean, girlfriends,
So
girlfriends' fathers.
He don't have any reoccurring supporting characters.
The Swamp Thing, Zaltana, and then mostly demons. There's probably about 47 different demons that he has battled that keeps reoccurring. Let's see. So some suggestions I make, like if you all want to look up something to read, there is one called The Family Man, written by Jamie Delano. That's really good. It's basically, the reason I enjoyed it is because, mostly he's fighting demons. Well, this time he fights what's considered one of the most evil things in the world, and that's man.
Yeah.
He's after a person that's kind of basically a mass murderer, and he gets the opportunity to take him out, and he kind of hesitates because he's always fought for humanity.
Yeah.
And this time he has to decide whether he's going to pull a trigger on another human being. and it's kind of been a
Yeah.
thing. So that's
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
read. Another one, you know how much I love Garth Ennis.
Yes.
So he wrote a series called Dangerous Habits.
Yeah, he's a great writer.
A great writer, and he did that right after this one. So it was just like bam, bam.
He always finds a way to write outside the box.
Right.
You know, just when you think you've seen everything, Garth will throw something else at you.
Right. I don't have a whole lot more other than Constantine's a badass. He's
Yeah.
a badass mofo, and I mean, in one comic book, he ended up with the helmet of Dr. Fate's helmet.
Yeah.
He ended up with.
Is Dr. Fate dead, or did
Shazam.
he just lend it from him?
No, he used the staff of Shazam, which he had got, and ended up basically blowing it off his head.
Oh, yeah.
He had Ragman's cloak and some kind of magic ball. I mean, he just obtained all this stuff just like this. He was fighting, what is Raven's father's name? Kargon or something like that. He had come to Earth
Yeah.
and was going to try to take over it. And basically, he sacrificed his life so that he could become, because he stole the powers from Deadman. You know who Deadman is?
Yeah, yeah. You're big into that character
Right.
as well.
So
yeah.
basically, he ended up using those powers after being killed to stop the demon himself. So he sacrificed himself,
Yeah.
which is really, I mean, pretty badass.
That's noble.
Right.
That's noble.
Right. He's a noble character.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you wonder if it isn't because of Zoltana's spell or if that's just the way he really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But that's all I got on Constantine.
Yeah, well, I mean, that, like I said, it was all information to me. I knew little or nothing
Right.
about
Y'all
the
need to
character.
look up also Rise and Fall. Hellblazer Rise and Fall. Good story.
Yeah. Who was the primary artist in it, or did he just switch around?
Back in the day, it was Steve and, Steve and John. I
Yeah.
think, and the newer ones, I don't know who does most of the art.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
All righty.
All right. Appreciate you tuning in. And you done?
I'm done.
All right. I think I'm done too. And if you like our content, please like and subscribe.
Down in the corner.
Big little red button down in the corner. And stick easy, my friends. All right. We're done.
We're done.
We're done.
We're done.
Hey, we're done.
We're done. You done?
I'm done.
Oh, okay. I'm done.